Hello anybody and welcome. I'm Christian from my site and this is the second devlog video of my game Lightbots, originally made as a London 45 entry. So the game is currently the same as it was at the end of the last one, so I've only got the basics of the character. I can move around, I've got the units, doors, switches, the basics. Let's see. It's just gonna load. Yeah, okay. So I've got the units all going. I can move them around just like I could in the last video. These buttons and switches work. So I've done these control panels so they're timed, and this door stays open because it's got more than a power level of 1. So that's simple enough. I've also been working on the pause menu, so now the game can be paused and it's got different options. This one's selected because the game actually has controller support. So if I just plug the controller in, there we go, we've got the controller in. So now I can move the menu with the controller. So I can click the options. So I've got all these different buttons. I can do post-processing on and off. I've got these sound bars. They just work. It's just a button. Every time you press it increases. Once it gets to the max, it resets. So that's synced up to the global settings. So that will be affect the music and sound volume when you're playing the game. Now I can resume. So then I've got my character. It does actually pause time. So if I jump into the air and pause the game, it is paused. I can resume. And as you've probably seen before, the controls are all updated when you're playing on controller. But yeah, so that's all I've done for today, and I'll see how much I can do before the next video. See you then. Hello again. It's Wednesday morning, and I've been working on the pause menu again. So when it loads up. But yeah, I've mostly been working on settings menus and stuff, and just making it look better and function better. So, okay, here we go. So I can navigate around like I used to be able to. You might notice there's a few more post-processing effects than there were before. But anyway, press escape. I've still got the menu like I did before. Now I can go to options. Now the music and sound is no longer here in post-processing buttons. Now there's an audio tab which has the music and sound sliders. An appearance tab which has the ability to change the color of everything, which is quite nice. So it's pretty easy to use. It can be used with the controller, and also post-processing can be turned on and off. It does look much better with post-processing, especially this green color. Anyway, so that's mostly what I've been doing. Other than that, not a lot has been done on anything other than that. But I just want to get all those sort of the things that need to be in every level done so that I can actually start working on levels, because it's kind of annoying to start working on levels and then find there's more things that need to be added, and then I'd have to go through and add it to every single level I've already made. So I'm just trying to get everything to a point where I can actually start building levels. So that's all for today. Also, there's been a loud explosion outside and the power's gone out. So I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to be able to do today, but let's hope it's doesn't last long. Okay, it's Thursday today. Luckily, the power cut didn't last very long yesterday, so I did manage to get stuff done, so it wasn't off for long. However, I didn't get to do all that much because I was working on a saving and loading system for the settings for the game. So as you can see, it started up blue instead of white. So now I can open up the menu, go to the appearance and stuff, and I can tweak all these values to whatever I so choose. And then I can turn up post processing, I can change the audio volumes. And now when I reload the game, so it goes quickly, it will now remember all those settings. It's just saving in player press for now because I didn't see a need to do any sort of custom formatting. I don't mind if someone goes into the registry editor and goes and changes all their settings. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, it took me longer than I would have liked because I made some silly errors. Like there were multiple things that all sort of played into each other to make it more difficult than it should have been. So if I open up the settings class, this one here, just a second. And I also did some things that probably weren't the best. I've never done player press before, so I wasn't 100% sure how it entirely worked, but I still got it working. But if you scroll down here, I got the save settings function, which just saves all the variables to actual to the player preferences and stuff. I also have the save default settings, so pretty much it checks if a version key is there. If it's not there, it saves the default ones. Also, if the version is different, it saves the default one. But I later realized when I was trying to use the load function that you can put a default value in. So I'm actually going to remove this save default settings, because right at this point where it's at now, if I add new settings and change the version number or whatever, it will just overwrite all your settings. But with default values, it'll just add them in. So I'm actually going to remove this default one completely and remove all this checks and the version number thing I put in. So that was annoying. But the problem I was having is the appearance menu controller. When I'm setting up the sliders, so when you load the game, it actually sets all the sliders values to whatever the actual values are. Now what was happening is to make you have more control when you're using a controller or something and you're like pressing on the D-pad or whatever, I use the has to be integer value, and then I multiply the whole thing by slider resolution. So that's what it sets all the sliders max value to. And then whenever I get the values of them, I just divide them by slider resolution to get a 0 to 1 value. But when I set the max value, it actually triggers the it triggers the on value changed function or callback event on the UI. So yeah, when I change max value, it actually triggers on value changed. And what that was doing was it was in the update thing, it would overwrite the original, it would overwrite the global settings value. And then when I wanted to actually use that to set the actual hue slider value, it had been overwritten when I had done this. So I actually had to save them all to temporary variables, then change everything, and then assign them. But yeah, that caused me a lot of headaches, and it took me way longer than it should have to fix it. But yeah, that's what I managed to do yesterday, so hopefully I can get a lot done today, hopefully. I'm probably going to try and work on more levels. I think I've sort of got the basics I need for every level. Like, there's not a lot else to go into the game now. I've got most of the basics. Like, that's how the options menu is pretty much going to be. I'm not going to bother with a video menu because I have a resizable window for the player, so people can see it to whatever size they want. They can maximize the window if they so choose. So I'm not going to bother with a video options menu. So I'm just going to work on making new levels and setting up the basic dialogue and some of the things like that. So I'll see you then. Okay, it's Friday morning today. So yesterday I was working on the levels, what I was going to be. I didn't end up, I was actually really busy yesterday. But what I did manage to do was make all these things prefabs just to make sure that it sync over properly. And I started setting up the level goal. So it seems a little unnecessary having, because it uses receivers, so it seems kind of pointless having a trigger, a transmitter, a receiver, and an actor all on the same object. You would think it would probably be easier to have it as one object. I've just done it this way for more versatility, so I can have a level control actor somewhere completely different and have different things activated, maybe having multiple exits, but I guess if it came to that, I could just have a separate actor for each of them. But yeah, it doesn't really matter, and it works quite well. Maybe I could have it that this receiver checks something in the level just to make sure you've done something before you can leave. So I'll just see how that goes. But I made everything prefab so that I would be able to make that everything would sync over. Because if I start separating it to different levels and stuff, the prefabs won't be linked, and then I have to delete them all and add them back in as prefabs. But if I make them prefabs and then duplicate them to different levels, they're already linked up and everything. So I was just trying to set up this level to be like a prefab level, so then I can create the level in and then like redesign the map. So I've got my things like level goal, the pause menu and all that sort of stuff, the player, the camera, the settings, all the things that will be in every single level. I want to make sure that they're all in there before I move on to making new levels. That way I can just duplicate the prefab level. So I'll make like a level called default or something like that, and then I can just duplicate that, then modify it to create the map and put all the things like switches and stuff in. And then I don't have to worry about putting pause menus in and stuff like that every single time. But yeah, so I'm not sure what I'll be able to do today, because again, I don't usually do all that much on Fridays, but hopefully. Goodbye, anybody, and I'll see you next week.